And then, do you do mainly work with Viz? Is a company you're very like hands in hands with, or?
No, we're kind of everything. I know that down here there's sort of in Texas people sort of work either with Funimation or with I guess what was ADV or what they are now or whatever it is their current incarnation. Whereas at home, I mean, obviously there are different companies that will produce different material, but then they'll go through different sort of service kind of providers up there and different voice studios, and then again, a lot of people sort of think that we work for Ocean Group or whatever it is, but we don't. We're all freelancers, and we go from studio to studio kind of thing. So, yeah. But I have worked a lot with Viz doing Ranma and Inuyasha, so it's fantastic. And we did Trouble Chocolate and all those sorts of things. So, yeah, it's a great studio to work with. They're great people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You guys want
Do you prefer live action roles or anime roles?
I think they both have their appeal. I mean, it's what I started doing was live action and on camera stuff. So I love doing that, and I love being in front of the camera. I like being behind the camera. I like that end of things is really a lot of fun for me. But being able to do voices and do characters that I wouldn't legitimately do on camera, fantastic. I mean, playing the hero or playing the villain or playing it's a great sort of extension. So they're very similar. They're two separate entities at the same time, and they're both really a lot of fun to do. So yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna
About the industry.
Well, I was sure. Questions about the industry in general.
Sure.
Actually, I was gonna say in the conventions. Are you having a good convention time
Yeah,
so far?
it's fantastic. It's an amazing convention.
What do you think? In documenting this convention, we're trying to get answers from people who are really inside the industry. What do you think conventions do for the industry, and whether or not will the conventions die if the industry is on a down slope?
Well, like any industry, it has ebbs and flows, and it just is the nature of what it is. I think that conventions initially brought anime, manga, Japanese culture, what have you, to people who, might not have had access to it or easy access to it before, particularly in the middle of the country, where, on the coasts, maybe you've got that sort of influence, but maybe through the center, you didn't always have that. And before the internet, a lot of people, this was their availability. Now you've got things like Best Buy or these large chain corporations that sell this material. You can get it on TV. You've got Adult Swim. You've got all this kind of stuff. So there's more access to it. But I think that conventions still offer people a chance to see things they haven't seen before, to get a hold of stuff that they haven't got a hold of before, and to open their eyes up to things. But I think the biggest thing is that it creates it strengthens the community of people.
Of course.
And that's what is the lifeblood of any industry, are the people feeling like they don't live in a vacuum, that they're not just watching stuff in a vacuum, that they're part of a larger thing. And I love it. I like conventions. I think that there's a great positive energy that is with these conventions, and I think that it's great. I think that for a lot of people go to multiple conventions a year. I think for a lot of people, it's Vegas. It's like that's that one weekend. It's what they save up for all year, and they have they have a blast, and they want to meet these people that they think are kind of cool, whether they're actors or artists or directors or whomever, or other people, cosplayers or other people within sort of the community, and it's a chance for them to sort of have an outlet and to have a lot of fun. So I think that they're an integral part of the industry. I don't think the industry's gonna die. I think that it's a question of, like I said, it's ebb and flow. It's in a transition right now. It's trying to find new ways to offer and to get material to people. That being said, people should still buy the material. But I think it serves a really a really big purpose within the larger community of these conventions, and I think they're great.
As the roles you played so far, what do you prefer playing as? Like a major role, like you did in Inuyasha, or you prefer a minor role, like in RV?
Well, again, they're two kind of different sort of worlds, being on camera and not. Obviously, I like playing major roles. I mean, that's my thing. Even on camera, when I did a series called Black Stallion, it ran for years, and that was an amazing experience to be the guy. But it's funny. When I was younger, I was more apt on camera to be, in those kind of roles. And as I've got older, and I'm not 6 foot tall, and I'm not, whoever's, Brad Pitt or whatever. So, I'm going to be more character kind of guys. And they're actually, in many ways, just more fun to play. They're less, traditionally, less kind of straight down the middle, and you can have more fun with them and do more silly things. And so yeah, they both have their appeal either way. But yeah, I mean, it's fun to do the big guys kind of thing. And yeah, for sure, definitely. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to ask you a question. It's kind of
Silly.
funny, silly.
Okay.
When you
Silly's
played Ranma,
Yes.
how did it feel to play someone who changes gender?
A transvestite for 4 years.
Yeah, it was 4 years.
I don't
for
believe
right?
it was a transvestite
Right.
because I didn't just dress up like a girl. I actually
You didn't?
became
Oh.
a girl. You see, the character became a girl. I think it's great. I think it's great. You live, if you could live part of your life as the opposite gender, would you not have more respect, first of all, for the opposite gender, what they have to go through? Women, we'd have to wear these insane clothes that button up in weird places, and women would have to die 10 years earlier, like we do.
And wear their weakness on the
cool.
outside.
Right? That's not cool. We died 10 years earlier. It was fun. It was great. I love the idea of it. So yeah, it was cool. And I became Venus Terzo for crying out loud. So, oh wait, yes, no, wait, did I? Yes, I became Venus. I became Venus Terzo. It's awesome.
So,
Fantastic.
being cast as Inuyasha when you previously did Ranma,
Yeah.
was it something that they're like, hey, this is Takahashi work, we want you to play the male lead like you did in the previous work,
Right.
or did you have to go through this tough application process and just punch a few people? Get it?
Not a lot of punching was involved. The same producer, the same English producer produced both of them. A guy named, fabulous guy, he's a good friend of mine, named Toshifumi Yoshida. And we were coming to the end of Ranma, and he started showing me what the next show that they were going to be working on. Going, check this out. This is the character, and he's kind of cool. And I'm like, oh, this character is very cool. And he says, well, it's funny because it's voiced by the same guy who did Ranma, Kabe Yamaguchi. I that would be great. What if I were to play and but I still had to go through the same auditioning process as anybody else, and there were good other people who did great voices as well, and I was lucky enough to get it. But I definitely bugged Toshi about oh come on let me play the game. He's awesome. You're great. So I think it was great. I think it was a really cool thing to do, and I actually met Kabe Yamaguchi at Animazement this year in Raleigh. And Noriko Hidaka, who played Kikyo and Akane in Ranma. So that was really an amazing experience, to sort of have both voice actors together. Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was really nice how I thought it turned out really nicely when going from one to the other.
With the original Inuyasha series, how did you feel like how it just went at the end where they didn't even kill Kagato? Kagato, oh god.
Naraka.
Yeah,
Right.
Damn.
No, that's all right. I don't mind shows that sort of leave off, because they tend to leave you to your own sort of devices. What happens at the end of it? Who knows? Which way you go. There are lots of great movies that do that. That sort of leave it kind of open. Although the manga had continued, and sort of the series had ended when it did, the original one. So, obviously I'd like to have seen it wrap up, plus I'd like to have done more, and so now we're lucky enough to be able to do that. Originally I think, definitely I wanted to see it continue on. But mostly because I knew that the manga had continued on. So, I think the final act, is amazing. It's really, really cool. So, I'm very excited for it to come out with sort of our take on it as well, so people can get a chance to see that.